Welcome to Laura's Social Corner, where we have meaningful conversations with people that are shaping their communities. So today for me it's an honor to have Nick Coffey, because we want to know about him as a person. He doesn't have a political background, but you have a prosecutor and serving the community.
Yep.
And always being involved with your people.
Yeah, I like to think so.
And for me, really, that's very meaningful, because you have the knowledge to know your community.
Yeah, how to do good things
for
for the people of Oklahoma. Yeah.
It's a pleasure to having you here. Welcome.
I'm honored.
So please introduce yourself and tell us all about you. Who is Nick? Who is Nick the person?
All about me. Okay.
Yes,
Who's Nick the person?
You.
My name's Nick Coffey, and I'm running for Oklahoma Attorney General.
That's right.
Laura's right. I have no background in politics whatsoever. I'm not somebody that has, a bunch of political figures in my family. I've just was born and raised here in Oklahoma City. Fifth generation Oklahoman. So my dad's side of the family is from Northwest Oklahoma, and they're farmers. And they raise cattle, and they grow wheat. Okay, mom's side was from Tulsa. We can talk more about her, but they were like doctors and lawyers. Grew up here in Oklahoma City. I was first in my family to grow up in Oklahoma City. Grew up in the Catholic community here in Oklahoma City. Went to Bishop McGinnis, and now I go to Our Lady's Cathedral. Still practice, and so I was a federal prosecutor for many years, and we'll talk more about the cases. But I worked, the way I like to describe it, I worked with FBI and DEA and did cases to keep the community safe.
And for me, that's very important, because being a politician is one thing, but know the work that you're going to do is perfect, because you know what to do and how to help the community.
And I also think that's important too, because these jobs require real experience. Oklahoma's got serious problems now.
A lot of problems.
We can, bottom 10 and, bottom 3 or 2 in education, bottom 10 in health outcomes, public safety, bottom 10, mental health, bottom 10. I mean,
human trafficking.
We can talk more about human trafficking. But the point is that if you actually want to fix, I think, our government, you need to put people with real experience in positions. And look, I just don't think where we are. Whoever's been running the state for 20 years, the state hasn't moved forward, right? And so I think it's time to put people with real experience in position. What I can do is be Attorney General. I'm not a policy whiz, but I can be Attorney General for the reasons that I think we're going to talk about.
That's right. And you have been inspired by your grandfather. This is a really great generation, and I feel proud to know you and proud the work that you do. Because your grandfather, he was an attorney.
Yes.
U.S. attorney in Tulsa.
He was U.S. attorney in Tulsa, and so
That's really amazing.
Yeah, and so what people don't know is the U.S. attorneys in every federal district are appointed by the President of the United States. And so my granddad, after he settled in Tulsa with his college sweetheart, Patsy Carney, they settled in Tulsa because my granddad is named the U.S. attorney for John F. Kennedy's Justice Department. So I grew up hearing his stories, how he played, football with the lawn, White House lawn with the Kennedy brothers, how he went after bank robbers and all kinds of folks, being the lead prosecutor for the federal government in Tulsa. He's the one that really inspired me to pursue a career with Department of Justice and in public service.
And also it's amazing how you being involved with the community and you grow in the faith community. That also shape who you are right now?
For sure. And I think that I had the benefit of going to Catholic schools growing up, and that impacted me a lot, because one thing that I took away from it was just the level of service, I think, that's expected. We were always expected to get our community service hours done. You're always expected to be involved in your school community in some way. You really weren't allowed to sit on the side. So that meant sports, if that meant student government, if that meant, doing community service hours. I did a mission trip to Peru when I was real young, first time out of the United States.
Yeah, that's a wonderful thing to do.
It is. No, so it really instilled a sense of service.
Yes, it is. It's wake up this beyond the opportunities that we have here,
Right, exactly.
right?
Yep.
And that probably helped you a little bit more to understand your community.
Just eye-opening. I mean, I think it was eye-opening even when I was 14, eye-opening about the kind of level of poverty that can exist, but also almost inspiring because even at 14 years old, I realized these people in Piura, Peru were, they lived in poverty, but like their faith was very, very important to them.
You know, I would like for you and our people that listen to us, where is a prosecutor?
When it's a prosecutor?
Yes.
Yeah, so
Explain that, because
Sure.
they need to know, not everybody knows exactly what is that role.
Yeah. So a prosecutor, they can exist. Look, you can have a city prosecutor, a state prosecutor, federal prosecutor. But the point is, if you're a prosecutor, you're the one that is representing the government when you're prosecuting a crime. So if you've ever seen you've seen a law show like Law and Order, right? You've got the defense attorney that represents the defendant, but then you've got the governor, the government's attorney, the prosecutor that's making the case to a jury about why the person committed the crime. And so you're working with law enforcement and you're building cases and different kinds of prosecutors, but you're representing the government, trying to make sure that victims aren't going ignored.
Okay.
And justice is actually being served.
So you're checking they're doing the work right.
That's a big part of making sure, making sure that like your agents are respecting people's civil rights. Because if your agents and the police aren't doing that, that's a problem, and it's going to be embarrassing for you when you get to court. But it's important. Obviously, we have constitutional rights here, and so part of the job as a prosecutor is making sure that the police or your agents follow the law and respect people's civil rights.
That's wonderful. It's well done, explicit now. Now I understand it 100%.
Good, okay, because a lot of people don't know. That's a good question, Laura.
No, it was because you also do a state and federal.
Two different ones exist. So there's a state system and there's a federal
And you've been
system.
doing both?
I was just in the federal
And
system.
the federal system, but that's even bigger than just the state.
I'd say it's more. It's different, but I guess when you watch TV and you see these lawyers doing trials, and there are the rules of evidence, what evidence is allowed. There are these formal rules about what is allowed to happen in the trial. That is much more similar to what happens in a federal court. So,
what those experiences taught you to the importance to have a collaboration? So they teach you. Did you learn from those collaborations?
For sure. You know, it's really hard to do your job well as a prosecutor if you don't have an agent that's doing his job or her job really well. And so you have to collaborate. You have to, one of the most fun things we do is whenever we were starting a case, I would address the room of 20 to 30 agents that are going to be working on the case and explain the ground rules to them about what's expected, what they have to do to make sure that we're fulfilling all of our legal requirements. And yeah, absolutely, with that there's a sense of collaboration. You got to work together.
And you've been working in many cases. You've been working with crime, drugs,
fraud, firearm offenses, money laundering, all those.
Wow, it's very impressive.
It was fun. It was a really fun job. The only reason I left is because I couldn't run for attorney general while continuing to be a federal prosecutor. There's actually a rule against it.
So where is we know in Oklahoma we need a lot of help, but what is your main motivation? What is your main focus? Bringing
accountability to state government.
How are you going to do that?
It's not that hard. The fact that this has not been done. And what I mean by accountability is if state officials violate the law, they need to be held accountable just like everybody else. No one got special treatment in federal court. If me or you got dragged into court for committing a crime, we're not going to get special treatment. And so I look out and I see state officials violating the law. We can talk about instances if you want, but nothing happens to them. And that's the AG's role. And this, I think it can be hard as AG because you have to make decisions that are politically inconvenient. You might upset some people, but isn't that the job, Laura, of the AG? Hold people accountable. So that's the biggest thing.
It is. It is because it have to be fair. Yep. Everybody has to follow their rights.
Doesn't matter what party they're in. Doesn't matter how long you've been in office. If you have violated the law, there needs to be some type of accountability.
That's right, and that is where we need the most, right?
Yeah.
Make sure.
I think we've got people in office that are using their positions in order to benefit themselves financially.
You know, from your perspective, what are the biggest public safety change in Oklahoma they're facing today?
The biggest problems? Well, I mean, I'm not sure this is really in the AG's lane, but like access to healthcare, particularly in rural Oklahoma, big deal. Education is not, education is a problem. Lack of economic development, high addiction rates. You have a lot of people struggling with addiction in the state. All of this stuff is connected. Mental health.
Mental health is very big now.
I think we discount it. I don't think we're doing a lot as a state in order to benefit it. To help it.
The cost of living is sometimes for family across Oklahoma are thinking about when they talk about costs.
Yeah.
Where the issues are the most concerned about?
So obviously I'm affected by affordability or cost like anybody else, like all of us are, right? But when I think about the AG, right? Because the AG can't just make prices lower.
Right.
But what the AG can do is actually focus on consumer protection. And so that means, you know, if insurance companies are denying your claim,
okay,
that's an issue for the Attorney General. If, you know, we have the highest homeowner insurance premiums in the country, that should be an issue for the Attorney General. A lot of people don't know this, but our electricity.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, our electricity rates. You know who? Do you know where electricity? Not to put you on the spot, but I think a lot of people don't know. Do you know where electricity rates are decided?
No.
The Corporation Commission, okay, which is like a special court.
And this is an election for everybody because that is what is important for me.
Yeah.
For you can explain us exactly what it is and what are you going to change?
Exactly. And so what I'm going to change is there's only, and I'll ask you another question, but you can guess this one. Who do you think gets to represent all of the consumers of the Corporation Commission? The Attorney General. Okay. It's the only one. So the Attorney General.
Oh, wow.
So I'm guessing if you get your utility bill, it's OG&E probably, right? And your natural gas is probably Oklahoma Natural Gas.
Right.
So whenever these rates are decided, and they're arguing at the Corporation Commission about what rates are fair, only the Attorney General can actually represent and go up against the lawyers with OG&E or Oklahoma Natural Gas, right? So it's really important from a consumer protection standpoint to make sure, particularly with data centers coming in, right, that all of these costs aren't getting pushed onto us, that insurance companies are also treating Oklahomans fairly.
So when those data centers come into Oklahoma, we're going to see an impact in our bills?
I would argue that there is a really good chance that we are going to see in Oklahoma at least somewhat of an impact.
And that is when you're going to help.
Yeah, so I think there are two ways you can do it. I mean, you could, as an AG, you can let the utility companies do whatever they want, or you could actually fight at the Corporation Commission to make sure no costs are pushed off onto consumers. And that's what I want to do because that's the role of the Attorney General, right? Consumer protection.
And that's one of the main things that you want to be focused, and also is children, crime, and corruption.
Yep.
When you say corruption, what really that means?
I mean, state officials violating the law, many times doing it to benefit their own pocketbooks or to help their friends out. You want some examples?
No, I don't want to have examples.
But no, there have been many instances the past 6 years or so of this sort of behavior taking place.
And it's wrong because, you know, I'm have a small business and I'm trying to be as fair as I can.
Yep.
And because that's my integrity, my work ethics.
Yeah.
And that's where we listen.
And it's also, so you go to work every day and you do your job. And you don't cut corners.
Right.
But why do these state officials think that they can go to work and be receiving a state salary and then violate the law in order to benefit themselves or their friends, and get wealthy doing it?
And that sounds very familiar, like in my Latin America people, and it happened in America. That's the sad part about it.
Yeah, you would think that. I mean, I think we've gotten away as a country. It's probably a larger conversation, but there's just no accountability, right? Like just high level, the people that take us into the foreign wars, right? No accountability. The people, the banking crisis back in 2008, all those bank heads on Wall Street walked away. There have been numerous instances in the past, just as a country and a state, where no accountability.
You know, you always say Oklahoma is a good place to live, to raise a family, start a business, grow.
It is,
What is
yeah.
about Oklahoma that make you passionate about this state?
And that's also something to keep in mind, is because we talked about some of the bad things about Oklahoma,
Right.
but the reality is that, like,
It's a great place.
yeah, my grandfather came here, so not my lawyer grandfather, but the other side, my great grandfather in Okarche came here and farmed during the Dust Bowl, right? 1920s, 1930s. We have people that survived the Dust Bowl. We have, we've built really good universities here, one of which has the longest, winning streak in college football history.
Right.
We have, we've done good things with the energy industry here and kind of remade American energy independence. We overcame the Oklahoma City bombing, right? There are good people here, right? There's resilient people. But when I think about just why I'm optimistic about Oklahoma, is because there are good people here. I mean, how many times, Laura, have you been traveling and you meet somebody from Oklahoma? And it's like, I mean, they're the friendliest people in the world, right? I think there's a common bond being Oklahoman. I think people understand that we're not the most wealthy state, but we've got good people here that can actually make a change
That's right.
if we put them in power.
When we have the right people in power.
When we have the right
and
people in
make,
power.
Good decisions for all of us.
Yes, exactly.
Right? So, where do you believe and we have the greatest opportunity to improve?
I mean, education's got to be the greatest opportunity
For the future.
to improve. Yeah, I mean, so think about it. Like, companies don't, if you want economic development, you have to have a good education system, because companies don't want to move here if the education system's not good. They're not going to want their employees to move here and send their kids to schools that aren't good. That's the biggest thing. I think economic development and education are probably tied hand in hand. Frankly, though, I think that the level of community outreach, I think, could probably be better too in Oklahoma City and Tulsa. I mean, I feel like we have sectors of the community, whether it be the Hispanic community, the Asian community, that I would like to see probably brought in more to the fold to be part of Oklahoma's like fabric, if you will.
Because we're shaping Oklahoma. We live here. We're helping to shape the future of this state because we belong here. At least we're trying to belong here.
And if you talk to people, whether it be on the South Side or in the Asian district, a lot of them have like amazing stories, right?
Right.
I mean, you go talk to somebody in the Asian district, and they fled one of my good friend's dad, right? Like, fled Vietnam during the Vietnam War.
I have a good friend that did it too. So.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot I think from our minority cultures here that can benefit the shared experience in Oklahoma.
You know, leadership often means making difficult decisions. Sometimes knowing that not everybody will agree with you. How you approach that?
You just described it perfectly. I think if you're going to be, let's just keep it with Attorney General. I think if you're a good Attorney General, you're going to have a lot of people that aren't going to be very happy with you.
Right.
Because I just think, look, like, if you're going against big businesses that are cheating Oklahoma, they're not going to be very happy with you, right? If you're making sure that law enforcement's always following the law, well, there are going to be a lot of people in law enforcement that feel like you're being tough on law enforcement, all right? I mean, that's leadership, though, right? Making the decision that nobody else is willing to make. I mean, that's leadership. And that's why the Attorney General position is so important. It's so important, because think about it this way. Like, if you're a legislator, you could be trying your best, and you still might not be able to make a difference because you've got to pass bills with everybody else. But if you're Attorney General, you're going to have every opportunity to bring accountability and to show leadership in that office by focusing on the right things, because you don't have to have the sign off of the legislature. You are leading your office of 100-something attorneys.
It's a big responsibility, Nick, for you, and really, you inspire me because you're young. I can
thank you.
Because it really, you doing this with passion and really to help in the community, and this is amazing. And I hope you get elected, you really keep your work.
So do I.
I'll bring you back to the chair and say, okay, check. What have you been doing?
Yeah, what have you been doing? No, I love that. No, I want people to understand again that we can have state officials that actually work for the better of everyday Oklahomans, that aren't just using positions to like climb political ladders.
Because you're so young, and we have politicians that have been so old. Mm-hmm. And then you think you're going to bring this mentality to improve where our future is going to be with the young people? How are you going to incorporate these young entrepreneurs into businesses and to do something like you're doing now? How you can help them?
That's a hard question because the AG doesn't do like a ton with economic development, but like just thinking,
but
right?
maybe in the community, because you are a servant. So how you can help your community in that regard?
Well, so I think, so one of the things about leadership we talked about is making the tough decisions, but it also is surrounding yourself with other perspectives and people that are smarter than you, that know things that you do not. And so, yeah, I mean, I think I would like to bring entrepreneurs and other people that are successful in their fields, have some type of liaison with the Attorney General's office so that I know, look, if I'm going to make a legal decision that's going to affect let's just say a business sector in Oklahoma. Well, I want to talk to them first, right? Understand like what sort of impact that could possibly have, because again, I might not have that perspective, but that's why it's important to bring that perspective into the fold.
So that way they can see it.
Like if I want to know if this was going to affect small businesses, right?
Right.
Or you'd be a person, Laura, that I have to pick your brain.
That's right. And I can tell you exactly what we're doing. You mentioned that one of the greatest achievements is being named a godfather to your best friend's son. So tell me, what does that mean? It's a big responsibility there. I've been asked once, and it really is a big responsibility.
No, yeah, I mean, it was the honor.
What does it mean for you?
Well, it just meant a lot to me because I'd always admired my friend, and he was the one that had settled down and had found the kind of the love of his life, his wife Emma, and it just meant a lot that me even being behind him on settling down, getting married, like he was willing to trust me with like the well-being and just the mentorship of his son. Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing else. I can't really kind of put into words and describe kind of what that means. I just think it's what could be a better kind of testament or sign of like trust and faith.
Trust and yes, it's a big deal. Are you being a mentor of other young kids? Have you been a mentor before?
Well, yeah, I guess in programs growing up, like at Christ the King and McGinnis, and even at OU. But now I would say most of my mentorship is going towards my nephew that's about 2.5 now, 3, and then he's also my godson, and then my other godson, that's 6 now.
You recently experienced the loss of your good friend. How that changed you?
Probably still is kind of changing me. And actually, the friend that I was talking about was it was actually his
son.
It was his son, yeah. I'm the godfather to his son. Look, I mean, it just puts things in perspective. Like I think everyone has said, when I decided to run, they said, "Are you ready for this? You've never been in politics before. It could get nasty. People could come say mean things about you." But it's like, put it in perspective, right? Because, if you've dealt with like the loss of somebody you love, and a lot of us have had to do that, right? Like, what's the worst thing that can happen on the campaign trail? It just puts things in perspective about how we need to value the relationships that we have, how it reminded me how close my community is. I'm extremely close with my parents. We have dinner about every weekend. Enjoy life.
The people that you love.
Exactly.
Yes.
And it puts it,
just be there.
Yeah. I mean, there were 1,000 people at this funeral a couple months ago. Really? And it just but it also put in perspective that we talked about mental health. You never know what people are dealing with.
That's right.
You never know. And so you just need to, I'm trying to be better about that. You ask somebody like, "Hey, how's it going?" And you're like, "Oh, good." No, like, how are you really doing? You know what I mean? Like,
that's right. Be kind.
Try to learn something.
Be kind. And always, be kind and really put attention, because it's not, "Hey, what are you doing?" "I'm okay." No, listen and stop. They can change somebody's life.
Right.
When it affect everybody, when you lost a person.
Yeah.
And then you say, okay.
Yeah, it can affect everybody. It also, and it just reminds us how kind of interconnected we all, and it reminds us how much, I think we all mean to each other, even if we don't sometimes do as good a job as we should of showing it.
What do you think is the biggest misconception about Attorney General?
Well, yeah, I feel like hopefully there are probably people that are going to see this in the Hispanic community. So one, the Attorney General does not have anything to do with ICE. It just not. It does not deal. It does not deal with federal immigration policy. It also, though, I think people think it's just the state's top prosecutor, if you will, and it is, and it does criminal cases, but it also does a lot of other things, right? So if someone sues the state over an employment dispute, the AG is the one that's going to represent them.
Okay.
If a state agency is uncertain on how to apply the law, the Attorney General is going to tell the state agency how to apply the law. If the AG doles out grants, I mentioned addiction earlier. We've got the opioid abatement fund, which are, tens of millions of dollars that go towards fighting addiction in Oklahoma. The AG is actually responsible for giving out that grant money, right? So it does a lot. It wears many different hats that can impact people in a lot of different ways, and I think every bit as important probably as the governor. With all due respect to the candidates for governor, yeah.
That's right. Do you work tight with the Attorney General? We work tight with the governor?
It can. I mean, there's no reason it cannot. But I guess the point is that the Attorney General should be independent, right? Just because the governor asked the Attorney General to do something doesn't mean the Attorney General should do it. You're elected on your own and you run your office. But we've all seen Drummond and Stitt fighting a lot the past few years, and it's probably an area where the government will probably work better if you don't have the two officials always fighting. But that said, if the executive branch, the governor's not following the law, then the Attorney General, it's on him to make sure that changes.
So if people remember only one thing about you, what you would like that to be?
In the Attorney General's position?
As a Nick.
As Nick. As Nick.
As a person.
He was as loyal as a friend as they came, and he really enjoyed life.
Yes, you are really a nice person. You always bring the energy, and it's very wonderful.
I try to. I feel like if I'm going to win this thing, I'm going to need to bring the energy, Laura.
That's right. What is the biggest lessons in your career that taught about serving others?
You never know a couple things. One, you never know, in terms of serving others, you never know how you never know how deeply that could impact somebody, right?
Right.
That goes back to a little bit mental health we were talking about. And the second thing is, look, I firmly believe, again, if you want to serve others, particularly in like a managerial position, and do the best good for your community, you need to surround yourself with people that, one, care about the mission, and two, are smarter than you, that know more, and are willing to tell you when you're wrong, when they disagree. Because the worst thing we can do is have kind of yes men, people always saying you're right, you're right.
Yeah, I know. Just tell me what I'm doing wrong, and I can
exactly.
Fix it.
Yeah, like you mentioned here, Elizabeth, right? That works here, right?
Yeah.
She probably if you make a mistake, she's probably going to flag it. She's probably not going to just say, "Oh, Laura, just don't worry about it," right?
Right.
That makes sure the place is running.
Right. So, what gives hope when you think about the future of Oklahoma? What gives you hope from our Oklahoma, our state?
Well, I mean, so like when it comes to some of the metrics we talked about, we have a lot of areas we can only go up, right? We can only go up. And there's more economic development happening in some parts of the state than ever before. I think we've got state officials that are at least more serious than they were about fixing problems like education. And then I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the tribes. The economic development that the tribes bring to Oklahoma, that's something that Oklahoma is essentially the only state that I think that has tribes that contribute $23 billion to the state's economy.
Wow.
Right? And I feel like that's an economic engine that can be unleashed if we have state leaders actually working with
That's right, and I'm very proud of our tribe in Oklahoma.
We should be. I mean, Laura,
they are really.
They run hospitals.
Community.
Yeah, they run hospitals, wellness clinics. I mean, they $8 billion in wages and benefits.
Oh wow.
Their hospitals, I think they employ like 140,000 people. Their hospitals serve like 200,000 people.
What is your vision to Oklahoma that you want to build? Where you see Oklahoma?
I want people to think of Oklahoma as a law and order state, not from a, oh, always have to be, we have to be the harshest state possible with criminal justice. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about law and order in the sense that there's accountability for state officials that violate the law. And I want businesses to know that they can come here and get a fair shake, right? Businesses don't want to come to a state where a good old boy system essentially applies and some businesses are going to be treated better than others, right? I mean, we have a state auditor, Cindy Bird, who actually a few years ago commented that Oklahoma was becoming what she called a no-bid state, where basically insiders were just getting state contracts. That's a problem. I want to clean that up. I want Oklahoma to be a place that is welcoming to everybody, and that means welcoming to businesses that actually want to better their communities.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. Nick, it's a pleasure to having you here.
Thank you very much, Laura.
Thank you so much for sharing your professional life, your personal life, and you, because now we have the opportunity to know you a little bit more about Nick.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yes.
So thank you for the questions.
It's wonderful what you're doing, and I hope, even if you don't get elected, that we hope you keep working for our state.
Yeah.
Right?
Make it better, leave it better than when you found it.
That's right. That's all we can do.
Yep.
Right, in this life. So I appreciate that you've been here. Is any message that you want to give it to our people?
No, just thank you for the opportunity. And again, I go back to the fact that if we want to fix the state's problems and make this a place where everybody wants to live and raise their family, elect people with experience to positions. What I always say, and I believe it, for this position, elect a prosecutor, don't elect a politician, right? Elect somebody that's done the job, that's be ready to go day one, and that's actually going to give back and represent and work for all Oklahomans, right? Not just the people that cut you a campaign check. Work for all Oklahomans, no matter of your income level, no matter what part of the state you're from, no matter your political beliefs. Frankly, you got to have Oklahomans' backs.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Laura.
It was a pleasure.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much, and see you next time.